It is so good to reunite with you again tonight on this program. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Kimbalo in Abuja. So much to talk about, but trust me, tonight we are only staying with the APC and what happened over the weekend. You know, as it is with ruling political parties, the larger it is, the more problems they have. And we dissect those problems and perhaps find solutions to those who are very much aggrieved. But let's begin by telling you that the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has today released the latest figures on the continuous voter registration exercise embarked upon across the country. The exercise, which partly is online and to be completed physically to be able to be a bona fide registered voter in Nigeria, now has over 3 million registrants. The total number of pre-registered persons is now put at 3,558,360 registrants, while the completed registration is 1,308,443. In the sense of completion means that it is not only enough for you to register online, you have to go physically to complete the biometrics and other aspects of the registration. So take a look at a further breakdown of the completed registration. A male, we have 667,134, while female 641,309. But in terms of the state, okay, so you have the breakdown by gender, by vocation. So we have more students, 528,000 of them who have registered in the exercise, and business people, 246,000. By state, let's take a look at what it does look like state by state. Perhaps the top states that have registered people in the southwest, the top state is Osun with 435,638. In the south is Delta State with 261,195. In the northwest, Kano State has 189,846 registrants, while Kogi tops in North Central with 142,042 registrants, and Anambra State that will have elections in few weeks as the top in Southeast with 124,439, and in Northeast is Taraba with 106,585. So there you have it. You have an understanding of what it looks like for those who have registered. If you have not, you will not be able to vote in any election in Nigeria unless you're able to register with INEC. And as at the last time, it's just about 80 million voters that we have in Nigeria, registered voters. With this one, we might be running to just about 85 million or a little more than that. Well, that's not our focus tonight. Our focus is the situation in the APC and the aftermath of the state congresses held across the country. That is what we're dwelling on tonight. So stay with me, everyone. We'll take you through the ride and make sure that you get all of the nitty-gritty of what is happening in the ruling party. But before we do that, let's check some of your political roundup stories.
It's 19 days to the Anambra governorship election, and civil society organizations have commenced sensitization campaigns on the need to have a peaceful governorship election come November the 6th, 2021. The groups, which include the Nigeria Civil Society Situation Room and the Vote Not Fight initiative, decry the level of disregard for the sanctity of human life, which they say may cause voter apathy, and they're calling for all political stakeholders to endorse peace.
As civil society organizations, we want a peaceful environment for election.
Vote Not Fight campaign. The slogan is Vote Not Fight, election will be won.
And the time is now.
Ahead of the National Congress of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, female members of the party are insisting on having a female deputy national chairman, North. Briefing journalists at the party's secretariat in Abuja, the women, led by former Minister of Women Affairs, Mrs. Ina Chiroma, implores the leadership of the party to abide by its constitution, saying that women cannot continue to be suppressed, as they ask that their rights be respected.
That fairness, justice and equity must prevail in the PDP.
Justice Inyageko of the Federal High Court in Abuja has ordered the immediate release of the international passport of the former governor of Rivers State, Peter Odili, to him. Delivering judgment, the judge declares that the seizure by the Immigration Service lacks constitutional backing. and security agencies must act in accordance with the law. The service, however, told the court that they were acting on the command by the EFCC, who claims Mr. Odili was on their watch list for act of alleged corruption. And Nigeria's Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshimaja, has been speaking on the 233 billion naira grant to pharmaceutical companies to support research and development for COVID-19 vaccines and other critical pharmaceutical needs, while calling for more funding and proactive support for local manufacturing capacity. The Vice President made the call at the International Conference on Health Access and Socio-Economic Development in Abuja, noting that Nigeria must work hard to close the gaps which the pandemic has exposed.
It is this proactive approach that we must take to the slow pace of vaccine access in Africa and, of course, Nigeria.
Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us tonight on the program. I told you earlier that our attention is on the APC. On Saturday, the 16th of October 2021, the ruling All Progressives Congress APC held state elections to elect officials that will pilot the affairs of the party at the state chapters. The exercise was largely peaceful and successful in several states, but several states ended up with factional and parallel conduct. In some states, things got really violent. For example, in Ogun State, we saw a situation where there were gunshots. In Osun, Ogun, Lagos, Abia, Enugu, and just a few, to mention a few of the states which had controversial processes. Tonight, we'll be taking a closer look at the situation and perhaps how the party hopes to get itself out of the situation. Lagos State seems to be one that has some of the problems. It's not the first time that we are hearing. In fact, my guest tonight, this is not the first time they might be speaking about this matter. They are in our Lagos studio. Jide Adediran is the convener of the Lagos for Lagos stakeholders members in the APC in Lagos. He's in our Lagos studio, and with him is the newly elected publicity secretary of the APC in Lagos, Mr. Sheye Oladejo. Virtually is Mr. Ayo Oyalo. Is one of the concerned stakeholders of the APC, one of those who said that there's going to be trouble, and it does look like there's trouble. But well, we have some answers for some of those issues that might crop up on the national level or across some of the states. We have the APC National Organizing Secretary for the Caretaker Committee, Professor Usuji Medana, is here in our Abuja studio. Thank you so much, Prof, for joining us now.
And I think a correction, I'm the Director Organization of the APC.
Yeah, so we read it as Organizing Secretary. Well, that's your job, isn't it? It's just the nomenclature.
the job is Director. There is Director and there is Organizing Secretary. So right. There are two different positions.
Thanks for clearing that. Yes. But let's get to it. Part of it might not make you smile tonight, but I guess we should just get to it anyways. Yes. I don't know if Ayo is with us. He's supposed to join us virtually. But let's begin in our Lagos studio tonight. Okay, Ayo is here. Thank you, Ayo, for joining us tonight. Ayo was here a few days ago before the conduct of the exercise. We'll be getting your view. Or maybe we should start with Ayo, since we can see him now. Ayo Yalawo, you were here, and you said that things are really getting to a head in your party. You said that the imposition of candidates, you said the consensus is not working. But has the process that held on Saturday proven you wrong?
Well, good evening, Sean. I hate to have been proven right. But unfortunately, I've been proven right, and my team have been proven right. We said consensus, while it's a good idea, consensus should be something that everyone agrees to, not when you impose on people and you say it is consensus. Consensus must involve the buy-in of every stakeholder. You do not wait for people to campaign for a particular position. You do not wait for people to buy forms and traverse the length and breadth of their states. And then on the last day, you now say you are doing consensus without even carrying such people along. Unfortunately, we have 36 states in Nigeria. Now we have over 92 executives, all of them claiming right. Yes, we know that we will have committees to handle this, but we could have avoided all these things from the beginning. The truth is we have refused to take correction. We refuse to learn from the mistake of the party that we took power from. We decided to copy hook, line, and sinker all the nonsense they used to do, rather than become a better party when we promise change. That is where we have found ourselves today. Very, very unfortunate, very sad. I never prayed for this day to come, but it has come. So we have to face it now.
I'll be throwing some sound bites from some of the states. In fact, in one of the states, in Osun, they've gone to court. In Ogun, the senator, the former governor's faction, held a parallel Congress. In Kwara, a faction loyal to the Minister of Information also had their own Congress. In Osun State, they had their own parallel Congress. And so many other states that you can mention. So, Ayo, one of the things that you also said was that the party needs rebirth. But if you can say categorically, because I was asking for specifics, and I want Professor Medana to address the specifics, because it was one of perhaps the brain behind putting all of these congresses together. And we're going to be asking him the question why things went wrong in those states where things went wrong. What specifically did you see? What, if you say things went wrong, where were those things? How did they go wrong? And what are the specifics?
Well, the specifics are clear for everybody to see. We took power, we promised change, we said we were going to do things correctly, we were not going to copy. We saw that a party that was terribly organized was in power, a party that a few clique of people decide for everybody was in power, and we said we're going to be better than them. But we didn't get better. Rather, we just colobi everything and start acting exactly the way they used to act. So the specific is that the APC must have a rebirth. And the rebirth means, as a political party, we have to organize ourselves in such a way that everybody is carried along. We do not want a party of exclusion where only people who are the friends of somebody or who know somebody get something. It should be a party where everything is open to everybody. One of the things I would have expected us to do is, after we completed our registration of membership, we should have had, okay, now that we have members registered, each and every member should own a piece of this party through contribution to the growth of the party, whether it is 1,000 naira per month, 100 naira per month, whatever it is, so that we do not have a few rich people hijacking and deciding for everybody. But we refuse to learn. So we want to become a party of a club of X this and X that, and it will not work, because if it has never worked before, it will not work now. Many of us who joined APC were not politicians before. We have staked our lives and everything that belongs to us to become a part of this party, and this party is dear to our life, our heart. We want to be able to fashion a system that works for us today and will work for our children tomorrow. We do not look at the ANC in South Africa. That party is how many 100 years old? Now we need to have a party that will have all the structure of a political party, but nobody discussing this. All we're interested in is how to win election, how to do things the way other people were doing it in the past that didn't work for them. We need to change our ways as a political party. Imposition, exclusion, all these things will not take us far, because it has never taken anybody far in the first place. All you will bring out is implosion. Emptying the dregs of the past into our party is like having a good bottle of new wine, sweet wine, and you decide to carry the drag of the past and put, no matter how good that wine is, it will taste sour someday. This is where we are today. We have emptied all the people that we said we never wanted, people we ran away from. We are going, I don't understand. Honestly, a lot of things are wrong, and it will take more than a television discussion to clear the audience table, but we need to start somewhere.
Let me allow Prof to respond to it. This is just an aspect of what I would like you to address tonight. But can you directly address what Ayo just said?
Yeah, election or congresses are processes, not an event. You see, it starts from the day the timetable goes out. If you look at it, we have done the world congresses. We did the local government congresses, then the state congresses. The Electoral College are specified in our guidelines, page 2. If you get to page 2, then item 9 and 10, that is where you see the Electoral College is being built. What I mean by the Electoral College, the 5 delegates that were elected in the ward, those are the people eligible to go and vote in the state congress. They are called state delegates. Then the chairmen that were elected at the state congresses, those and the secretary, the chairman, the local government chairman, and the local government secretary, those are the eligible people to vote. Then you have what is called statutory delegates. This is in compliance with Article 12.7 of the party constitution. It's not just a matter of us being somehow, sometimes to think other way. You should remember, the list of those panels were sent down to INEC in compliance with Section 85 of the Electoral Act. INEC has the list of the 7-man panel that are going to conduct this election. And you see, from 23rd of this month to 30th of this month, there is an appeal committee that will look into grievances and disputes arising from the congresses. Largely, you said it, largely it is successful because we have 36 states in Nigeria. You have seen Katsina, you have seen Borno, you have seen Gombe, you have seen a lot of places where this Congress went seamlessly. So in a party, a ruling party, definitely there are some people that will feel aggrieved. If you look at it from pre-Congress, there is Abdullahi Adamu's committee just to reconcile people. That is, after the appeal committee, they have to go and look at those grievances again. And in a special provision of our guidelines, item 6, the CECPC, that is the caretaker, is the final arbiter in whatever issue that arises from these congresses. So now it's like we are preempting the appeal committee. The appeal committee is there. Whoever has grievances will lodge his complaint before the appeal committee. There is ample time from 23rd to 30th of this month. There is still time for people to lodge their complaints.
So you've explained, I mean, just like a civil servants would do, the processes, and you've explained to us like a technocrat would do, the processes, and but the big question are the politics of this whole matter.
Yes.
Where did things go wrong to the extent that there is a Senator Ibukunle Amosun faction and it's the governor faction, and they held their congresses, and that's not the first time. It started from the ward to the local government and to the state. We saw that happen. In Kwara State, similar thing is happening. The minister's faction, the governor's faction. In Abia State, there are problems. In Enugu State, there are problems. In Lagos State, there are problems. And the question is that these things are happening. In Osun State, for example, the minister has their own faction. They've gone to court.
Despite my explanation on this mechanism put in place, there is the appeal committee, the Abdullahi Adamu's committee, and the CECPC, which is the final arbiter to look into the whole matter. The panel of the Congress, that is the 7-man committee, if that panel splitted into 2, by definition, then you have parallel Congress. If the panel that was sent down to conduct the congresses did not split into 2, so now we have started receiving reports to look into these reports and now give to the appeal committee whatever we have received. They will look into it. But we had on the media, we have seen some people that voice out their grievances. We are waiting to complete the receipt of the reports from the Congress committee to see whether actually the panel that were sent down to conduct this Congress is split into 2 to have. I'm coming. Let me land. Let me land.
Because you have not.
Where you have the minority report and the majority report.
We understand the process. The question is that this is not just happening. The World Congress, it happened. The local government, it happened. The same thing is repeating itself.
Largely,
so the question is that what exactly is the party doing when the party people are aggrieved continuously and they are crying about imposition. I will allow you to listen to one of those grievances, but I'll allow you to touch on that.
It's okay.
Because you've not answered the question.
The pre-Congress, I think the CECPC at its 17 regular meetings adopted the reports of the local government congresses with a caveat that it will look into areas where there are issues. If you look at it, it's a build-up. In a party that registered almost 40 million people, definitely there must be grievances here and there. And even in your family, you see problems. It's the ability for you to surmount those problems. The party is very much ready. That's why they put layers and mechanism. Apart from the conventional appeal committee, there is Abdullahi Adamu's reconciliation committee, and there is the CECPC itself that will look into this. So if you look at it, there are still layers of where people can bring their grievances to be looked into. The merit of the grievances will be looked into. Now they have voiced out their grievances, remaining for those people to now take their grievances into these authorities.
Because, I mean, you said that they need to voice out their grievances, but have been shortchanged.
So you see, it's not just media thing. No. You have to now prove your case.
Prof, you know, when I'm asking questions, I'm not asking from obscurity.
Yeah.
I speak to people.
Then
I've interviewed them.
You see,
let me situation where people say some governors allegedly, they have come on the program to say some governors allegedly bought all the forms available.
Now there is Jide in Lagos.
Yeah.
Right? If he has grievances, the party constitution spell out how those grievances will be addressed. The guidelines of the party spell out what steps you are going to take. So the internal mechanism to resolve conflicts must be exhausted.
Yeah, because I understand that. So it's like, let me give you, let me paint a picture.
Yeah.
There are 3 people in the room, and one person is thrown out of the room, and it's raining. And rain has beaten the person outside of the room. But you said that there are mechanisms for him to voice out, and you open the window and you say you should start voicing out.
No, it's not a window, it's a big door.
No,
it's
you
a big
have
door
opened the window because his rain has already beaten
the people.
Yet he can voice his opinion.
We have published,
but yet he has received the injury.
We have published our timetable. In that timetable, day of election is on the 16th. Then appeal committee will sit from 23rd to 30th. You see, the door is wide open.
Let me allow you to listen to some of these grievances. We have some sound bites for you. Take a listen to some of these, Prof.
But APC, that is the platform that has made it possible for you to occupy this position today. All those who continue to be deluded, I hope the message is heard loud and clear. I am the Chief Security Officer of this state. I will not allow a breakdown of law and order.
What we have is a party that's a bit of an imbalance. I mean, I always say it's about an 80-20 dichotomy. You know, you have 80% that has the vote and the support of the people, and then you have the 20% that's governing the state. Let's put it that way.
We are going to give the party a new lease of life. We are going to give the party a responsible and responsive leadership. We won't discriminate against anybody.
So you can see these are 2 events where the governor, that's the Ogun State incident, and I have others from Kano. I have in other states like Oshun. I have in several states of the Federation where this kind of situation is happening.
I can recognize the chairman of the Congress panel, Wole Okun, who is conspicuously there.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying, that if you have a parallel, by definition, it means the team, that is the 7-man committee, splitted into 2. Then we are waiting for the report. Either this that splitted and conducted parallel, they write their minority report, and it will be looked into by the this thing. So I'm not aware if any of the committee so far from the report I received,
Right.
there is a parallel Congress, but that will be looked into. And all their party members, they are your children. You don't disown one and own the other.
I just gave you, I mean, one of your children is in the rain, and the door was shut at him, and you said that.
And you came back and opened the door and say, "Come in. Let me look at
who he has been beaten by rain.
Who locked that.
Let's hear from Jide. Jide is one of those who feel that he's aggrieved. Fuad Oki is also one of those. In fact, Fuad Oki said he was not allowed to contest. He was a governorship candidate for the Lagos Congress. But Jide is one of the leaders of a group in the APC. Jide, what are your grievances? Because this is not the first time you'll be on the program on this matter. This time around, what went wrong?
Thank you very much, Chinwe. And I think I'll quickly take this back to Prof. And thank God Prof read out the guidelines and everything. I mean, that's correct. That is how it should be. But it's now left for Prof to then go through all of the processes across the country and look whether or not the processes in question or the guidelines of the party were strictly adhered to. But before I delve into that, I'm sure they've seen it, especially in Southwest, that those that they are governing the party in the Southwest are in the minority. I mean, we've seen the numbers. If you take Lagos, for instance, the other side who had theirs at our designated funeral venue in Onekon Stadium, said they had delegates of about 1,600 and something, and I was like, if you have five, delegates, per ward in 245 wards, that alone is over 1,000. You've not put into consideration the principal, officers of the party, and there are some mandatory delegates, like my Egbon here, who was a local government chairman while I was still in school. I mean, many of them like that. If you put all these figures together, you can't have 1,600 and something in the name of delegates. In our own case, we had 2,982, delegates in where we had our own Congress. So I think there is no point going back and forth. There are processes, and we are waiting patiently. Because when we had the World Congress, we had an appeal committee. We went there, presented our case. They didn't organize any World Congress. And it's because of this impunity that we can do anything and get away with it and all of that. It's fine. They call us baby politicians, but it's okay. But we're teaching them the game. We know how to go through the processes and wait, until we exhaust everything. So we're waiting. Yesterday, on Saturday, we did our own Congress as well. And we had all our delegates that were there, tagged, and we did it. And they call it a naming ceremony. And we're happy that it was a naming ceremony because that's them agreeing to the fact that there is a birth of a new political order in the state. And it's a welcome idea for us. And we also said to them, okay, what you had was also a funeral ceremony because that was a funeral of an old order in Onekon Stadium. So in Lagos, I think we don't really have any issues. We are waiting. We've been able to show our numerical strength within the party. It's out there for everybody. It's not left for Abuja to say, okay, I'm throwing away all these people. You can do that across the Southwest, where we'll then wait. But what we have done is to show to everybody who cares to listen that, look, in this party, we bought forms because the party advertised that we must purchase forms. The party said there will be...
Just for a moment. Yeah, just for a moment. We've gotten to the break mark. We need to take a break. And when we come back, more on this matter. In fact, I have Fuad Oki, who said he wanted to run for chairman in Lagos, but he was shut out of the process. And we'll also be hearing officially from the Lagos APC, Mr. Seye Oladejo will be responding to some of these issues. That's after this break, everyone. Join us again. Welcome back, everyone. Let's get back to the conversation. I've been speaking with Professor Usuji Medana, is the Director of Organization at the APC in the national level. He's here with me in our Abuja studio. Virtually is Ayo Oyalowo, is one of the concerned stakeholder members of the party seeking rebirth. And in our Lagos studio is Mr. Seye Oladejo, the Publicity Secretary of the APC, the Lagos chapter. And with him there in the Lagos studio is Jide Adediran, is the lead visionary of the Lagos for Lagos group in the APC. Thank you so much, gentlemen. Let me go to Mr. Oladejo. You heard what Mr. Adediran has just said. The grievance are the Lagos for Lagos. How do you react to that?
Well, by first congratulating Jide for successfully holding elections into the executive position of people in his group, Lagos for Lagos. Whatever they had couldn't, under any condition, have been the Congress of APC in Lagos State. The major problem we have as a party is discipline. Anytime you choose freely, willingly to join a group, a party, an organization, a firm, as it were, it behoves that you're ready to submit yourself to the rules and guidelines and regulations and constitution of such a party. There are processes to the Congress. We had the World Congress, where the state delegates were elected. They protested. The result of the World Congress was upheld. Those 5 delegates from 245 wards became duly elected, and they participated in the process on Saturday. There were statutory delegates. You see, when I say something about, you still need to learn the ropes in policy and the rest of it. It looks like a joke, but politics is serious business. We're not into unionism or activism here. Let me just say that what we had on that day was conducted by the committee, the State Congress Committee, duly deployed by the national headquarters, led by the chairman, Chief Adebayo Adelabu, and the secretary, Ambassador Chris Oga. It was a 7-man committee. It was witnessed by HANEC. We had the statutory delegates. You should ask him, how were they able to have the delegates that he said they had over 2,000 something? By the way, let me just say, I've seen in the media, they had a mammoth crowd and the rest of it. It was not an all-comers event. It was a delegate event. And those delegates were those duly sent to us, the list duly sent to us by the national headquarters. We're waiting to see if the national headquarters will overrule the submission of its own delegates. We had just one Congress in Lagos on Saturday. Others that purported to be, APC State Congress were non-events as far as we are concerned. And the weather was even kind to us, for you to know that we really had a good afternoon Saturday.
Mr. Adediran, is responded to you. Does that satisfy you? Maybe it gives you a change of mind on the entire scenario.
And Sheung, it's so unfortunate when you hear the word discipline and you look at the quarters where this is coming from. There is a guideline, just like Professor Medina said. This guideline, you can ask the Factional Publicity Secretary that is here to tell us, was this guideline strictly adhered to? The party at the national level.
Let's get just a moment, Julie. How is he a factional publicity secretary? Is there another publicity secretary in Lagos?
Absolutely. We have Honorable Segun Akabashorun as a publicity secretary.
Publicity secretary for Lagos, for
APC in Lagos State.
Under the constitution, you have the right of association. That is your group.
You can't shy away from the fact that there are tendencies in Lagos. This is you sitting on a keg of gunpowder. If you really love this party, you see, you should just wake up to the fact.
You talk about having a crowd that's untested. We are tested in elections. We were recently tested on the by-elections. We won massively.
That crowd should worry you. That crowd should worry you because that crowd is within that party.
You mobilize on news clinics and corners without following the guidelines.
Okay, if we can do that, why can't you do that? Why can't you then do that? Okay, if we can do that, if an individual can do that, why can't you as a government do that?
We went to a stadium to observe the COVID protocol.
What COVID protocol do you went to stadium to observe?
Everywhere. You are outsider in this party and you are not even trying to
integrate yourself. You can't call me an outsider in the party. I voted you, local government chairman. When you were local government chairman, I voted for you. Yes, I was a party member. I was in school. When you were party, I was in school when you were local government chairman. I don't know if you should be proud.
Gentlemen,
listen.
What I don't know, let's take one after the other.
Is if you should be proud that we are sharing the platform now.
I'm going to get your audio muted.
You should be ashamed
if we are not going to take this one after the other. So we've got to conduct this in such a way that the viewers can be able to understand.
That's the major problem you have refused
to leave the stage.
You don't even know the
I'm going to pause from the outside for a moment. If you're not going to listen, I would like for us to speak one after the other for the sake of our viewers. So I wanted the clarity from Mr. Adediran, who said Mr. Ladejo there, who was a factional publicity secretary. And I wanted him to clear that, because when you're giving those kind of information, a lot of people are hearing and listening and will take it either for what it is. So what do you mean by factional?
Because on Saturday, we recognized the fact that we had parallel Congress in Lagos. They had theirs. We had ours. And during ours, Honorable Segun Akabashorun was elected as the publicity secretary for the party in Lagos State. And that is what we are presenting before the national body of our party to then decide. Because when we had the Congress, when we had the Congress.
So just for a moment, let's take this one after the other. Prof, who was the chairman of the committee that organized the Lagos Congress?
Yes, the secretary is Chris Oga, who was sent from the party. And as I said, election is not an event; it's a process. The process is still ongoing.
I wanted to find out. I wanted to find out if the Jide Adediron's group had the representation from the national level.
What I told you, we sent only 7-man committee to Lagos, and I defined what parallel means. If we have splinter group that went and conducted congresses.
Was there such in Lagos?
I'm coming. You see, we are receiving reports. We are yet to receive a report from Lagos. And anytime we receive it from Lagos, we put it before the CECPC for consideration and adoption. Secondly, this issue now, as the two gentlemen were discussing, the process is ongoing. 23rd is appeal. Whoever feel aggrieved, there is an appeal committee. You must exhaust the internal resolution mechanism before you even approach court. And let me just put it this way. You know, Supreme Court interprets a political party. It's just a club. You must adhere by the rules and regulations of that political party. If you feel that you cannot stay there, then you just move to another. But this party has put in place mechanisms to resolve conflicts. First, the appeal committee. Second, the Abdullahi Adamu's reconciliation committee. Third, the report will be submitted to the CECPC, which is the final arbiter to reconcile members. So I don't think there is any need for members to start maybe throwing words and
sorry, if you can permit me.
I think I should have the floor now.
Permit me.
Yeah, the name of the chairman, if I check my this, and I can recall the name of the secretary, who is Ambassador Chris Oga.
So let me ask whether or not that there was a representation from Abuja to Mr. Adediron's group. Mr. Adediron, was there any representation from the national at your group? Was INEC also present there?
Absolutely. They will submit their report and you will see it. So what I want to ask, I want Prof to tell us what is the meaning of consensus. And if that fails, what is the next thing? You understand? So Mr. Oladejo will then tell us how they arrived at what he called a consensus. You understand? You keep saying, you keep speaking about discipline, process, as if you carried out this process. No. Let Prof tell us, because what we know about consensus is that all of us will sit together and say, okay, we are doing this thing. We have several tendencies. Let us come together. And if that fails, the concern of the party says there must be an elective Congress. So you never called anybody. You cornered the group that came from Abuja because you have a Commonwealth in your kitty. You did all those sorts and all of those things. So I think
I should have the floor now. The question to ask is this.
All right. So let me allow Mr. Ladejo.
Yes, thank you.
So quickly, Mr. Ladejo.
Prof spoke about a 7-man committee.
You employed, just a moment.
Yes.
You employed the use of consensus. That's what Lagos we saw on TV.
Yes.
How did you arrive at that?
Thank you.
Consensus to the extent of those who obtained forms and who submitted themselves to be screened by the 7-man committee sent by the national headquarters. As confirmed by the Prof, the 7-man committee was led by Chief Adebayo, Adelabu, and Chris Oga was the secretary. And all the 7 members were present at the Congress.
Don't let us muddle the matter, okay? So the question I ask is, how did you arrive at a consensus?
Exactly.
There are laid-down principles on. Just a moment, Mr. Adele, just so that I'm a land on my question so that you can get it and be able to respond to exactly what Nigerians want to hear or they are looking forward to. So the question is, how did you arrive at a consensus? Because the laid-down principle of consensus, if I may give you a hint, is that you have to have the stakeholders to first of all agree the mode of the primaries. Before you then agree that we are going for a stakeholders, a consensus, then you then go into the election proper and you employ the consensus. So that's the reason why I'm asking, how did you arrive at a consensus?
Let me just first make this clear. The guidelines published by the national headquarters suggested advised consensus, and also went further to say where we could not agree, we could go for elections.
Thank you.
Now, this consensus will only be to the extent, will only involve those who have put themselves forward for elections, those who purchase the forms, those who put themselves before the duly deployed, duly recognized committee from the Abuja National Headquarters.
And
those who are, I won't have you interrupt me. I won't have you interrupt me. You bought your forms from wherever. You didn't submit to that committee to be screened. And as far as I'm concerned, all those people who are parading themselves now, they are imposters, they are known to the party because they did not appear before the Abuja committee as confirmed by the prof. So the consensus was reached strictly among those who purchased the forms, who submitted themselves to the duly committee, to the duly constituted committee by Abuja. And those were the people that took part in the elections. So,
Mr. Large, so let me follow up on what you said.
They have no stake in these elections.
Let me follow up. Where did you hold the stakeholders meeting where you arrived as consensus? And what date?
As far as I'm concerned, the state secretariat of the party at ACME still remains the only recognized secretariat of the party in Lagos State. And it was held there last week, Wednesday, attended by all those. His group, Lagos for Lagos, have never been identified with the state secretariat. They have not been identified with the party. They have their own secretariat. That's why I congratulated him on successful holding of the executive members of his party.
But we were invited to the stakeholders.
Let me allow you, Jide, to respond to what.
I just want to remind. I want to remind my brother.
You need to ask him.
No, sir.
You need to ask him who are those who screened the so-called members who took part in the election.
Let me respond.
Yes,
sir.
Go ahead.
Because I would understand. Because I want to get old too. Because we should assist you. Old age is something we should. Because if you've forgotten that we were invited to the stakeholders committee for the World Congress, we met there at the airport hotel. We were there. So, and that day, you shut out everybody, including the press, so that we can have whatever. But it was okay. I protested. But it's okay. The LGA that was organized, since then, nobody invited us for anything. Even this particular one, we were not invited. Let me tell you something, sir. What you're saying, I'm sure, Prof. there and the national body of this party will not even, we will follow through the whole processes. What we have done was to purchase the form and paid into the coffers of the party. With that,
and part of the process you followed was to appoint your own members to conduct your own Congress.
No, excuse me, sir.
Impunity, what discipline?
You are talking about impunity.
Jide,
you came up with a list.
Jide,
yes, please.
Jide, do you have the evidence of payment
Absolutely.
of the form? Because that's the first step.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the
you
forms.
Have the forms?
Yes, we have. Of course, we had the forms. We paid.
Where
we
did you
collected
Where
forms
did you submit it to?
In Abuja, and we displayed our forms.
Did you submit to the committee that was appointed?
We submitted our forms
to the committee.
Which committee? The committee that you cornered in your bedroom.
The
committee that you guys cornered and put somewhere. Come on, we know these things.
You gather your friends and club goers, and you now present them as executives of the party. It's not
because I'm a young man. Let me tell you, sir.
Let me tell you, you are free to approach the RP committee, which I can assure you will just be an academic exercise. This is not a matter of rhetoric.
You
have lost house and you should learn.
You should be proud of us. You should be proud of us.
For achieving what? For
we are doing what you cannot dare. Thousands of you in that
Before you came to the party, the progressives have always been in control. We've always won by the ruling party.
And I do know.
You are not adding any value. You are just adding implosion. You are just adding confusion.
Okay, it's okay if you call it confusion. But I know that what we are fighting for is also for you.
Whatever you are fighting for is for your selfish agenda. It's a selfish agenda.
There is nothing wrong.
You should learn.
There is nothing wrong in anybody having an ambition. See, let me tell you what we have said to ourselves. For us, we are going to have aspiration. We won't be like you that wait for somebody to call you before you can do anything. In our own case, we believe in ourselves. We are putting ourselves forward, and we will aspire for anything.
It is the refrain of your group
it is my constitutional right.
Propaganda.
It is my constitutional right to vie for any position in this country.
Absolutely.
It is my right,
Within the
and I'm so qualified.
And regulations
I'm so qualified. I am knowledgeable. I know my rights. I know what to do. So, that's why I'm going everywhere, going to the grassroots. I refuse to play on social media. It's because I understand the game. Why are you G3? Why are you people feeling and making
just
like
this?
A
party that has been tested as won no elections in this state is G3.
Gentlemen, just a moment. Tested. 600,000 votes against 6.5 million votes. Come on.
You don't even know their words.
Come on.
You won't win a polling booth. You know that? You won't win a polling booth.
Let's go. Why didn't you come for elective Congress? Why? Why didn't you come for elective Congress? Why didn't you come for elective Congress?
All right, Mr. Oladejo, a quick question. You have this on your hands now. You are a newly formed leadership of the APC that we know. How are you going to handle this? You have the governor as the leader of the party. Are you hoping that you are going to draw the likes of Jide to yourself, extend a hand of fellowship to them, and resolve this matter? Because I'm not sure it will end well if things go this way.
Fantastic. You see, deliberately, we have been able to identify a well-grounded, a grassroots politicians, a round peg in a round hole, Honorable Cornelius Ojelabi to be the man to lead the party at this point in time. Ojelabi has played.
That's their strategy. That's the one they picked from my word.
Ojelabi has been a local government chairman. He has been a commissioner for rural development in this state and has been to the House of Reps. A complete package. And in his acceptance speech on Sunday, he has already extended his olive branch to the likes of Jide and his people to come back to the fold. The party is big enough to accommodate everybody. But what we will not accept is blackmail and rabble-rousing. They must be ready to operate within the confines of the constitution and the rules and guidelines of the party. That's very important. And it's also very important that he and his group should not put a knife in that thing that unites all of us as Lagosians. Lagos has always been for Lagos and to continue to work for all Lagosians. We are ready to accommodate everybody, but there must be discipline.
All right. So, Jide, are you willing to work with the setup in which it looks like you are up against? Because as it stands right now, it does look like your voice is being heard, but you are not going to have your way.
Well, Sheung, our own chairman that was elected on Saturday, the 16th of October, Prince Sunday Ajayi, who is a very non-grassroots
chairman of Lagos for Lagos.
Also, you know, extended to the other side that they should come. We would accommodate them, okay? Because if politics is a game of numbers, they can't say to us that they've got the numerical strength.
Imaginary numbers, well, untested.
Imagine, we have displayed this openly.
Untested.
We have displayed this
with
openly.
a rented crowd that will not come for nothing.
So let me ask you this hypothetically. So just hypothetically,
excuse me.
Hypothetically, if just a moment, hypothetically, if the national level is not recognizing your group, what would you do?
My group, our group, there are processes, just like Professor said.
You said you have your factional chairman.
After this,
what would you do?
Hold on. After this, we would go to the appeal, if they call us for the appeal. We have our petition now that this is open. After that, if that fails, we will go to court because we have our rights. But we first exhaust every other thing. We have rights. We are members of that party. We purchased form to contest for an election. These people, because every time, all the time, somebody sits somewhere and cook up a list and call everybody to follow, all of them jump on it. They think it's going to go like that forever. No, it won't go like that forever. We are putting a stop to that nonsense in Lagos.
Don't you think that it might be read, just a moment, Jide, don't you think that that action you just stated there might be read as though you're trying to pull down the house?
I don't understand what you mean pull down the house.
The discipline we spoke about.
Are you saying that because one house should not be pulled down, then my right is trampled upon, I shouldn't do the needful? I am not cows like majority of them that just follow whistle. No, I would pursue my right to the last. I mean, it's my right. It's the constitutional right. I won't go the violent way, like what is happening in Osho and other places. No, we won't do that. We will go through the processes to ensure that we will teach these people lessons.
Mr. Oladejo should
be a thing of the past in Lagos.
Mr. Oladejo, should yes, Mr. Adediran go the way they threaten to go? What is the option left for you?
No, I'm too sure we'll make peace somewhere down the line. I'm not too sure they want to go to the court because I'm aware that the party at the national level is averse to members taking the party to court. And it's part of this discipline we spoke about.
Then the party is then telling us to go the violent way.
They're not independent.
If they are saying we shouldn't go to court, they are saying we should go violent way.
And then they cannot threaten the rest of us and threaten violence. No, I don't think we're going to accept that. We are disciplined people, and we will encourage them to just come down from their high horses and make peace. We cannot work together. That's what I can assure you.
Why even bothered about
that? So, gentlemen, let me give the final.
Before you guys came on board,
let me allow Prof to wrap up for us. I don't know if we can get a soundbite because I would like Prof to respond to it quickly. The soundbite from Kano, it seems that some people are not happy also in Kano. If we have that soundbite. Oh, okay.
Any other location where you have pockets of disgruntled elements performing a similar function is regarded as illegal.
I thank all of you, and I assure you that being a chairman in Kano State APC, I will not let the party to fail down.
So you have a Senator Shekara faction, a governor's faction there, and you heard what the governor said. So it's not only in Lagos, it's not only in Kano, it's not only in Osun, it's not only in Ogun. It's in several states of the Federation.
As I said
30
earlier,
seconds for us to close.
Yeah,
Prof, your final
as
thought.
I said earlier, that largely the congresses were very successful, and these pockets of grievances and crises, the Maimala Buni's led caretaker committee is capable of surmounting all this. You have seen even some people, they attracted a lot of people coming to the party. And what people expected that would happen in these congresses, because you have people that they come to this party. People expected that, oh, this thing will be very narrow. But if you look at it, it's not even where you expected those things to happen. That is places like Cross River, places like Ebonyi. It doesn't happen that way. So these issues, as I said earlier, the CECPC now put mechanism to address this issue. I want to assure these gentlemen, I know we are going to be one together by the time the reconciliation committees comes to them, by the time they tender their grievances, by the time they face the appeal panel, by the time they go into the Abdullah Adamus committee, everything, yes.
Prof, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Trying to give us what the CECC is doing on that. Professor Osuji Medana is a national director of organizing for the APC. And Ayo Yalo, I did not forget you, only that you've had your say. But thank you so much for coming tonight, Ayo. Jide Adediran is the lead convener of the Lagos for Lagos, a group in the APC in Lagos. And Mr. Shaye Oladejo is the newly elected publicity secretary, only that Jide is contesting that he's a factional. Well, that's what you see in politics. Unfortunately, Fuad Oki, one of the aggrieved person, is locked in traffic. He's not able to make it to the Lagos studio. But yet, that's our show for today, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Sean Kimale. Bye-bye.